I kissed a stranger to save her from a stalker. Then he started following me home every night. The first time I kissed Vanessa, she was shaking so badly I could feel it. Not because she wanted me to kiss her. Because a man across the street was watching us like he wanted to kill me. It started on a Thursday afternoon at a coffee shop near my office. I only went there because my usual place was closed. If it hadn't been, I never would have met Vanessa. She was working the register when I walked in. Pretty in an exhausted kind of way, dark circles under her eyes, hair tied back too quickly. The kind of tired that doesn't come from one bad night of sleep. She spilled coffee while handing me my order. The lid popped off and burned her hand. She flinched hard enough that I thought she might drop the cup. "Oh my God, sorry. Her voice cracked. I immediately told her it was fine, but she wasn't looking at me. She was staring behind me, terrified. I turned around. A man stood near the pickup counter holding his phone chest high, filming her. At least pretending not to. Mid-30s maybe. Clean haircut. Dress shirt. Normal looking. Too normal. When he noticed me staring, he smiled. Not embarrassed. Almost amused. Vanessa quickly cleaned the counter while whispering, "Please just ignore him." That sentence alone told me enough. I lowered my voice. "Do you know him?" Her hands froze, just for a second. Then she quietly said, "Please don't make a scene." The man walked up to the register. Vanessa physically stiffened when he got closer. He ordered a black coffee without looking at the menu once. Just stared at her. "You look prettier when your hair's down," he said casually. Vanessa said nothing. He smiled wider. "You should wear that blue sweater again tomorrow." My stomach dropped, because that meant he noticed what she wore every day. When she handed him his drink, he leaned slightly over the counter. "See you tomorrow, Vanessa." The way he said her name made my skin crawl. Like it belonged to him. He finally left. The second the door closed, Vanessa exhaled shakily. I stepped closer. "Is he your ex?" "No." "Then who is he?" She hesitated. "He's just someone who won't leave me alone." Before I could ask more, her manager called her from the back. Vanessa immediately forced a fake smile. "I'm okay," she said too quickly. People who are actually okay never say it like that. I should have left. I had meetings, emails, a completely normal life waiting for me outside that coffee shop. But when I glanced through the window, the man was still there, standing across the street, watching her through the glass. And suddenly walking away felt impossible. I stayed another 20 minutes pretending to answer emails on my phone. The entire time, the man never left. He stood across the street beside a parking meter, coffee untouched in his hand, staring through the window like Vanessa was the only thing he could see. Every few minutes, she glanced outside. Every single time, her expression tightened. Fear, not annoyance, not discomfort, actual fear. When the lunch rush slowed down, I walked back to the counter. "Has he been doing this long?" Vanessa looked toward the kitchen to make sure her manager wasn't nearby. Then she nodded. "Almost 2 months." 2 months? "He comes every day." Her voice dropped lower. "At first he just flirted. Then he started waiting outside after my shifts, then following me." "Did you call the police?" A bitter laugh escaped her mouth. 3 times. And? They said he hasn't technically threatened me. That word technically made me irrationally angry. I looked back outside. The man was still there, watching. "Does he know where you live?" "I don't think so." But the hesitation before the answer scared me more than if she'd just said yes. She wiped down the counter with shaking hands. I started taking different routes home, different buses, different grocery stores. Somehow he still shows up. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. "Does your manager know?" "He thinks Derek is harmless." "Derek?" "That's his name." The fact she knew his name meant this had already gone way too far. Right then, the front door opened again. Vanessa froze instantly. But it wasn't Derek. Just another customer. Still, I noticed how badly her breathing shook afterward. Like her body stayed trapped in panic even when the danger passed. I made a decision before I fully thought it through. "What time does your shift end?" She looked confused. 4:15. "I'll come back." "You don't have to do that." "I know." She stared at me for a second like she was trying to figure out if I wanted something from her. Honestly, I understood the look. Women probably learned early that kindness from strangers usually came with conditions. "I'm not hitting on you," I said carefully. That actually made her laugh a little. Small, tired. but thank you for clarifying. I smiled slightly. My sister had a stalker in college. People ignored it until he broke into her apartment. Vanessa's face lost what little color it had left. What happened to him? He got arrested. I didn't mention that it happened after my sister stabbed him in the shoulder with kitchen scissors. I looked back outside again. Derek finally moved. Not away from the shop. Closer. He slowly crossed the street while staring directly through the window. Vanessa noticed too. I saw panic flood her face instantly. Don't look at him, she whispered. But Derek was already smiling and heading straight for the door. The second Derek walked back inside, the entire atmosphere changed. It felt colder somehow, like everyone sensed something was wrong without understanding what. Vanessa immediately looked down at the register, avoiding eye contact. Derek stepped into line even though only 2 people were ahead of him. His attention never left her face. I stayed near the counter pretending to fix sugar into my coffee while watching him carefully. He looked normal. That was the unsettling part. No wild eyes. No twitching. If you passed him on the street, you'd probably trust him instantly. When he finally reached the register, Vanessa's hands visibly shook. Back already? She asked quietly. Derek smiled. I forgot to ask what time you get off today. Vanessa forced a laugh that sounded painful. I'm busy. You're always busy. His tone stayed light, almost playful. But underneath it was something ugly. Something possessive. I stepped closer before I could stop myself. She said she's busy. Derek slowly turned toward me. For the first time, the smile slipped slightly. And who are you? Customer. He looked me up and down like he was memorizing my face. Then the smile returned. Oh, just that. Oh. Like he'd already decided I didn't matter. He turned back to Vanessa. You didn't answer my question. Vanessa swallowed hard. 4:15. The words escaped before she could stop them. I could tell immediately she regretted it. Derek noticed too. His smile widened. Perfect. Something inside me snapped at the way he said it. Like he'd won something. He took his coffee and finally walked away. But before leaving, he leaned closer to Vanessa and whispered something. Whatever it was made her face go completely pale. The second the door closed, I moved toward her. What did he say? Vanessa stared at the register. He said he likes watching me walk home. Anger hit me so fast it made my chest tighten. That's a threat. The police said it wasn't. That's insane. She gave a weak shrug like she was exhausted from defending herself. I know. I looked toward the window. Derek was outside again, standing beside the glass, watching us, watching me. And suddenly I understood something terrifying. He enjoyed the fear. I checked the time. 3:38. I'm staying until your shift ends. Vanessa immediately shook her head. You really don't have to. I know. You don't understand people like him. Then explain it to me. Her eyes filled slightly with tears. He won't stop just because you're here. I glanced back at Derek. He was smiling directly at us through the window. And for the first time all day, I felt afraid too. Because suddenly, I had the horrible feeling Derek already believed Vanessa belonged to him. And people like that rarely let go quietly. I stayed in the coffee shop until closing. Derek never left the block. Sometimes he stood across the street pretending to check his phone. Sometimes he slowly walked past the windows. Once I caught him taking pictures through the glass. Vanessa noticed too. Each time her shoulders tightened a little more. By 4:15 the shop was nearly empty. Her manager disappeared into the office without even asking if she wanted someone to walk her out. Vanessa grabbed her bag with trembling hands. You don't have to actually walk me home, she said quietly. I know. You probably think I'm overreacting. I looked toward the window where Derek stood near a bus stop pretending not to stare. No, I said honestly. I think you're underreacting. That almost made her cry. We walked outside together. The second Derek noticed us, he straightened. I could physically feel Vanessa tense beside me. Just keep walking, she whispered. We headed toward my car parked half a block away. I heard footsteps behind us almost immediately. Not close, but deliberate. Following. Vanessa heard them too because her breathing suddenly changed. He does this every night, she whispered. I turned slightly. Derek walked behind us with his phone in his hand. Watching. Smiling, without thinking, I reached for Vanessa's hand. She flinched at first, then slowly held on. The second Derek saw it, his expression changed. Not disappointment. Anger, pure anger. And suddenly I understood something terrifying. He genuinely believed she belonged to him. We reached my car. Vanessa quickly moved toward the passenger side. But Derek suddenly called out behind us. "Vanessa." His voice was calm. Way too calm. She froze instantly. Slowly, we turned around. Derek stood maybe 20 feet away, still smiling, but his eyes looked dead. "Who's your friend?" Vanessa's grip tightened painfully around my hand. I answered before she could. "I'm her boyfriend." Derek stared at me for several seconds, then laughed softly. "No, you're not." Something about the certainty in his voice unsettled me. Vanessa quietly said, "Please leave me alone, Derek." Instead of answering her, he kept staring at me. "She likes making men fight over her." Vanessa looked horrified. I stepped slightly in front of her. "Back off." His smile widened. "There it is." "There what is?" "The hero complex." The way he said it made me uneasy. Like he'd already figured me out. Then his eyes shifted back to Vanessa. "You'll get tired of her eventually, too." Vanessa looked like she might throw up. And before I could think better of it, I kissed her. Right in front of him. Vanessa froze from shock, then slowly kissed me back. Not passionately, desperately, like she needed the lie to feel real. When I pulled away, Derek wasn't smiling anymore. He looked furious, and somehow that was even scarier. For a few seconds, nobody moved. Cars passed behind Derek. People walked down the sidewalk. But the three of us stood completely still. Vanessa's hand trembled inside mine. Derek stared at us with an expression so cold it made my stomach tighten. Then he laughed. Quietly. "That's new," he said softly. Neither of us answered. Derek looked directly at Vanessa. "You never mentioned him before." Vanessa swallowed hard. "We've been together a while." Even I could hear the fear in her voice. Derek noticed too. His smile slowly returned. "She's lying," he told me casually. "You can always tell when she lies." I stepped forward slightly. "You need to leave." For the first time, the smile vanished completely. Derek's eyes locked onto mine. "You have no idea what you're involving yourself in." Something about the way he said it sent a chill through me. Not loud, not aggressive, just certain. Vanessa quietly whispered, "Please stop talking to him." Derek heard her, and somehow that made him angrier. His jaw tightened. "You know what hurts the most?" he asked softly. "I was patient with you." Nobody answered. "I was kind to you." Vanessa's breathing became shaky beside me. "And this is how you repay me?" That sentence told me everything about him. In his mind, attention meant ownership. I opened the passenger door. "She's leaving now." Derek looked at me again, then suddenly smiled. "Okay." That caught me off guard. Too easy. Way too easy. He slowly stepped backward. But before turning away, he looked at Vanessa one last time. "You'll call me after he disappoints you." Then he disappeared into the crowd. Vanessa immediately got into the car and locked the door. The second I sat down beside her, she covered her face with both hands. "Oh my God. You okay?" "No." Her voice cracked. "He's never acted jealous before." That sentence made my chest feel cold. I pulled away from the curb slowly. "He'll probably back off now," I said. But honestly, I didn't believe it. Vanessa stared out the window. "You don't understand." "Then explain it to me." She stayed quiet for several seconds. Then finally whispered, "I think he's been inside my apartment." I looked at her so fast I nearly missed a stop sign. "What?" My bathroom mirror had writing on it. Every muscle in my body tightened. "What did it say?" Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. "It said, 'Stop pretending you're lonely.'" Silence filled the car after that, because suddenly this wasn't just stalking anymore. Someone had been close enough to enter her home, and I realized something terrifying. Kissing her in front of Derek might not have scared him away. It might have made me part of the obsession too. I drove Vanessa home in silence. Not awkward silence. The heavy kind. The kind where both people are thinking about worst-case scenarios, but neither wants to say them out loud. Every few seconds, she checked the side mirrors, watching for Derek's car. "You should call the police again," I finally said. Vanessa gave a tired laugh. "And tell them what? That someone wrote on my mirror? If he broke into your apartment?" "I can't prove it was him." That was the problem with people like Derek. They stayed just believable enough to escape consequences. When we reached her apartment building, I noticed her hesitate before getting out, like she was afraid of what might be waiting upstairs. "I'll walk you up," I said. You really don't have to. I know. She looked exhausted when she smiled. The hallway outside her apartment smelled faintly like bleach and cigarette smoke. Vanessa unlocked the door slowly, then froze. Every light inside was already on. She stared into the apartment without moving. You left them on? I asked quietly. No. A cold feeling spread through my chest. I stepped in front of her automatically. The apartment looked normal at first glance. Tiny kitchen, small couch, books stacked beside the TV, but something felt wrong, like someone had touched things they shouldn't. I carefully checked each room. Closet, bathroom, bedroom. Nobody there. Still, the air felt disturbed. Vanessa walked into the bathroom slowly, then stopped breathing. I immediately followed her. 3 words were written across the mirror in red lipstick. He doesn't love you. For a second, neither of us spoke. Vanessa looked completely frozen, like her brain had stopped processing reality. Then suddenly she started crying. Not loudly, just silent tears while staring at the mirror. I grabbed my phone immediately. This is enough for the police. They won't care. They'll care now. But even as I said it, I remembered every story I'd heard where women begged for help right until the moment they ended up dead. I took pictures of everything. The mirror, the windows, the locks. Then I noticed something near the bedroom door. A single white flower laying on the floor. Vanessa saw it too. Her face lost all color. That wasn't here before? I carefully picked it up using a napkin from the kitchen. Attached to the stem was a tiny folded note. I opened it slowly. You looked beautiful kissing him. I felt actual fear crawl up my spine for the first time all day. Because that meant Derek hadn't just seen us outside. He'd been inside recently enough to know exactly what happened. Vanessa suddenly grabbed my arm hard enough to hurt. Colin? I turned toward her. She pointed toward the bedroom window. The blinds were slightly open, and outside, across the parking lot, a man stood beside a streetlight watching us. Derek? Smiling. Vanessa immediately stumbled backward away from the window. Oh my God. I moved closer carefully and looked outside again. Derek hadn't moved. He just stood there beneath the streetlight with that same calm smile, watching us, like he knew we couldn't stop him. I grabbed my phone. The second Derek noticed, he slowly raised his hand and waved, then walked away into the darkness. By the time I reached the parking lot, he was gone. No car, no footsteps, nothing. The police arrived 20 minutes later. 2 officers, tired expressions, barely interested. One photographed the lipstick on the mirror, while the other questioned Vanessa at the kitchen table. Are you sure you locked the door earlier? I watched Vanessa's face fall instantly. Yes. You didn't maybe leave it unlocked accidentally? No. The officer nodded like he didn't believe her. I stepped in before Vanessa could spiral further. There's also the note. I handed him the flower wrapped carefully in a napkin. The officer read it twice, then sighed. Do you know for certain this Derek person left it? Vanessa looked devastated. Who else would do this? The officer shrugged slightly. Without witnesses or cameras, it's difficult to prove. I actually laughed from disbelief. Someone broke into her apartment. There's no signs of forced entry. That sentence nearly made me lose my temper. Vanessa suddenly stood up. You know what? She whispered shakily. Forget it. The officers exchanged a look. One handed her a card. Call if anything escalates. The second they left, Vanessa locked the door and slid down against it, crying. I sat beside her quietly. Then she whispered, I can't stay here. I looked around the apartment. The mirror. The flower. The note. Honestly, neither could I. You can stay at my place tonight. Vanessa looked up immediately. I can't ask you to do that. You didn't. She wiped her eyes. This is becoming your problem, too. It already is. An hour later, we packed a small suitcase. Before leaving, Vanessa suddenly froze beside my car. What? She pointed toward the windshield. A photograph sat beneath the wiper blade. It was a picture of me kissing Vanessa outside the coffee shop earlier that evening. Across the photo, written in black marker, were 4 words. She was mine first. For a second, neither of us moved. I stared at the photograph while a cold pressure spread through my chest. That picture had been taken only hours ago, which meant Derek had followed us longer than we realized. Maybe all night. Vanessa looked close to panicking again. We need to leave. I immediately threw the photo into the back seat and unlocked the car. The drive to my apartment felt tense and wrong. Every pair of headlights behind us made Vanessa nervous. Twice she turned around, suddenly thinking Derek's car was following. Both times it was someone else. By the third time, I started checking too. That was the worst part about people like Derek. Eventually, they trained your brain to expect danger everywhere. When we reached my apartment building, Vanessa looked surprised. "You live here?" "Yeah. It's nice." I almost laughed at how normal that sounded compared to everything happening. We hurried upstairs. The second we got inside, Vanessa locked the door and exhaled shakily, then immediately checked the windows. Every single one. I pretended not to notice. "You can take the bedroom," I said. "No, I can sleep on the couch." "You're not sleeping on my terrible couch." That finally got a tiny smile out of her. It disappeared quickly. I gave her an old t-shirt and sweatpants while she showered. The entire time I kept checking outside through the blinds, half expecting Derek to somehow be standing there, watching. When Vanessa finally came out wearing my clothes, she looked smaller somehow. More vulnerable. Like exhaustion had stripped away the last of her defenses. "I feel ridiculous," she admitted quietly. "You're not ridiculous. I barely know you, and now I'm sleeping in your apartment because some psycho thinks I belong to him." Hearing her say it out loud made everything feel darker. "You can stay as long as you need." Vanessa looked at me carefully, then quietly asked, "Why are you being so kind to me?" I leaned against the kitchen counter. "My sister had a stalker when she was 20. Vanessa stayed silent. He followed her for months. Nobody cared until he broke into her apartment. Her expression changed instantly. "What happened?" "She stabbed him with scissors." Vanessa blinked. "He survived." I gave a tired shrug. But after that, everyone finally believed she was in danger. The apartment went quiet. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something in my stomach tightened. So I answered. Slow breathing filled the line. Then a man quietly said, "You shouldn't let strangers into your home." The call disconnected. Vanessa's face went completely white, because she heard it too. Neither of us spoke for several seconds after the call ended. I stared at my phone. Unknown number. No caller ID. Vanessa looked terrified. That was him. I know. My apartment suddenly didn't feel safe anymore. I checked the locks again automatically. Then the windows. Then the peephole. Nothing outside. But the feeling of being watched wouldn't go away. "How would he get your number?" Vanessa whispered. "I have a work website." The second I said it, I regretted it. Derek probably already knew my full name, where I worked. Maybe more. Vanessa wrapped her arms around herself tightly. "I'm sorry." "For what?" "He's doing this because of me." "No." I looked directly at her. "He's doing this because he's insane." That made her eyes water instantly. Like nobody had said that out loud before. Like everyone else kept trying to make his behavior sound less dangerous than it was. I grabbed my laptop from the table. "What are you doing?" "Looking him up." Vanessa immediately shook her head. "Don't." "Why?" "Because the more attention you give him, the worse he gets." I ignored that and searched Derek Hollis anyway. A real estate profile appeared immediately. Professional headshots. Clean smile. 5-star reviews. Completely normal. That almost scared me more. Vanessa sat beside me slowly. "He volunteers at animal shelters," she whispered bitterly. I looked at her. "You checked?" I needed to know if I was crazy. There were dozens of smiling photos online. Derek shaking hands with clients, holding rescue dogs, standing beside coworkers at office parties. The perfect harmless guy. Then I noticed something. Wait. What? I turned the laptop toward her. One photo showed Derek standing beside another man outside a downtown restaurant. The second Vanessa saw it, her face dropped. Oh my God. What? That's my manager. A horrible feeling settled into my stomach. The coffee shop manager? She nodded slowly. They know each other. Suddenly everything made more sense. Why the manager ignored her complaints. Why Derek always acted so comfortable inside the cafe. Why nobody ever truly stopped him. Vanessa looked sick. I thought he just didn't care. I stared at the photo again. No, I think he was protecting him. Right then, 3 loud knocks hit my apartment door. Both of us froze instantly. Another knock. Slower this time. Vanessa grabbed my arm hard enough to hurt. Don't open it. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it. Then a voice called through the door. Delivery for Colin. I frowned. I didn't order anything. Vanessa looked like she might panic. Another knock. Package delivery. Slowly, I walked toward the peephole and immediately felt my blood run cold. Nobody stood outside. The hallway was completely empty. Then my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. A text this time. Look behind you. Every muscle in my body locked instantly. Vanessa whispered, Colin! Slowly, I turned around. Nothing. Just the apartment. Dark kitchen. Living room lamp. Hallway leading toward the bedroom. But my heart still pounded violently. Another text appeared. You should really check the window. Vanessa grabbed my arm. Don't. But I already moved toward the blinds. Carefully, I pulled them open a few inches. Across the street, beneath a flickering lamppost, stood Derek. Watching the apartment. Watching us. Even from that distance, I could see him smiling. Vanessa made a terrified sound behind me. Then Derek slowly lifted his phone. A camera flash lit up the darkness. He was taking pictures. I immediately shut the blinds. Call the police, Vanessa whispered. I already had my phone out. But deep down, I knew exactly how this would go. Public sidewalk. No direct threats. No crime in progress. Still, I called. While we waited for officers, Vanessa sat curled tightly into the corner of my couch. She kept staring at the windows like she expected Derek to suddenly appear inside. I sat beside her quietly. Then she whispered, He's escalating. Yeah. He never used to involve other people. I looked at her carefully. What changed? Vanessa gave a weak, broken laugh. You. That answer sat heavily between us. Because she was right. The second Derek saw another man near her, everything got worse. More possessive. More angry. More dangerous. Her phone suddenly buzzed. Vanessa flinched hard before checking it. Then her face lost all color. What? She slowly turned the screen toward me. Unknown number. One image attached. It was a photograph of my apartment building. Taken from outside. Just minutes ago. Beneath it was one sentence. You can't protect her forever. I felt genuine fear crawl through my chest. Not just for me anymore. For both of us. Then Vanessa quietly whispered something that made everything worse. He knows where you live now. Before I could answer, another knock hit the apartment door. Loud, aggressive this time. Vanessa nearly jumped off the couch. Police! A voice shouted. I rushed to the peephole immediately. 2 officers stood outside. Relief hit me so hard I almost laughed. I opened the door quickly and explained everything. The calls. The texts. The photos. One officer stepped toward the window carefully and glanced outside. Then frowned. He's gone. Of course he was. The second officer took notes while I showed them the messages. This is definitely concerning, he admitted. Concerning. Like we were discussing bad weather. Can you arrest him? Vanessa asked shakily. The officers exchanged a look. Then one sighed. We'll speak with him. Vanessa looked crushed instantly. Speak with him? There's still not enough for an arrest. I couldn't believe what I was hearing anymore. The officer handed me a card. Call immediately if he returns. Then they left. Again, and somehow the apartment felt even less safe after they were gone. Neither of us slept that night. Vanessa stayed curled against the far end of the couch, while I sat in a chair near the window pretending to watch TV with the volume muted. Every tiny sound outside made us tense. Car doors, footsteps, voices in the hallway. Around 3 a.m, Vanessa finally whispered, You should go to sleep. I'm fine. You have work tomorrow. So do you. That made her laugh softly. A sad little laugh. I don't think I can go back there. The coffee shop? She nodded. He'll be waiting. Honestly, she was probably right. I rubbed my eyes tiredly. Then don't go. I need the money. That helplessness in her voice made something twist painfully inside my chest. For a while, we sat in silence again. Then Vanessa quietly asked, Can I tell you something embarrassing? Sure. I almost didn't ask for your help that first day. I looked over at her. Why? Because I thought you wanted my number. I couldn't even blame her for that. She stared down at her hands. You'd be surprised how many men act helpful until you say no to them. The sadness in her voice hit harder than I expected. I'm sorry. You didn't do anything. Still, she looked at me for a long moment. Then quietly said, You're the first person who actually believed me immediately. I didn't know what to say to that, because believing her felt obvious. How had so many people failed her before this? At 4:12 in the morning, my phone buzzed again. Both of us froze instantly. Unknown number. This time it was a photo. I opened it slowly, then felt sick. It was a picture of us inside my apartment. Taken through the living room window. Vanessa sleeping on the couch. Me sitting in the chair. The timestamp showed it had been taken less than 2 minutes ago. Vanessa saw my face immediately. What? I turned the screen toward her. She stopped breathing. Oh my God. I rushed to the window and pulled the blinds open hard. The street outside looked empty. But near the corner of the block, I caught movement. A dark figure walking away quickly. Derek. He'd been outside watching us while we thought we were safe. Vanessa suddenly stood up, shaking. I can't do this anymore. You don't mean that. Yes, I do. Tears filled her eyes instantly. He's never going to stop. I stepped toward her carefully. We'll figure this out. How? Her voice cracked hard. The police don't care. My manager doesn't care. Nobody cares until something horrible happens. I had no answer for that, because she was right. Then she whispered something so quietly I almost missed it. I think he's going to kill one of us. And for the first time since all this started, I thought she might be right. That sentence sat in the room like something heavy and alive. I think he's going to kill one of us. Vanessa didn't cry after saying it. That somehow made it worse. She just stood there, staring at the floor like she was already preparing for the outcome. I moved closer slowly. No, I said, we're not there yet. Vanessa gave a hollow laugh. You've seen everything I've seen. I couldn't argue with that. Because I had the messages, the photos, the break-in, the way he kept appearing exactly where we were. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. A voice note. I pressed play. Static. Breathing. Then Derek's voice. Calm. You picked the wrong person to pretend for. Vanessa grabbed my arm immediately. Then he continued. You think she's safe because she's with you now. A pause. She was never safe. The message ended. Vanessa's knees almost gave out. We sat down without speaking. Then I opened my laptop. This time I searched deeper. Not social media. Records. Old reports. Minutes later, I found it. A dismissed harassment case from 2 years ago. Different woman. Same name. Derek Hollis. Vanessa leaned in as I read it. Her voice shook. So I'm not the first. I shook my head. No. And suddenly it wasn't random anymore. It was pattern. He'd done this before, and gotten away with it. Vanessa stood up suddenly. I'm going back. What? To the coffee shop. That's insane. He's predictable there. That's the only place we can control. I grabbed her wrist. That's exactly what he wants. Her eyes were desperate. Then what do we do? Silence. Then she said quietly, if he thinks you're the problem, I frowned. He reacts to you more than me now. That was true. Everything escalated after I got involved. Vanessa stepped closer. What if we stop running? I shook my head. We already tried that. No, she said, we didn't. A pause. Then, we make him come to us. Outside, a distant car alarm went off, then stopped. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. We weren't just being hunted anymore. We were being studied. I didn't answer right away, because make him come to us sounded like the kind of plan that only works in movies, right before someone dies. Vanessa paced the living room, arms crossed tightly. He feeds off control, she said. Every time we move, every time we react, he wins something. And if we stop reacting, I asked, then we control the pattern. I shook my head. You're talking about baiting a guy who breaks into apartments. She stopped pacing. I'm talking about forcing him to make a mistake. A heavy silence followed. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. This time just one line. I know you're talking about me. Vanessa saw it before I even turned the screen. Her face went pale. He's listening, she whispered. I checked the apartment immediately. TV off. No devices playing audio. No smart speakers. But the feeling was undeniable now. Like the space wasn't fully ours. Then another message came in. Stop pretending you can hide her. Vanessa backed away from the phone like it was burning. I can't stay here like this, she said. I looked at her. Then we changed the rules. She frowned. What does that mean? I hesitated. Because the idea forming in my head was dangerous. Not illegal. Not violent, but risky in a way that made my stomach tighten. We give him what he wants, I said slowly. Vanessa stared at me. What? A situation where he thinks he finally has control again. Her expression darkened. You mean let him get closer? No, I corrected. Let him think he's getting closer. She understood immediately. And didn't like it. That's still bait. It's structure, I said. Right now he's improvising. We force him into a predictable moment. Vanessa shook her head. You're talking like he's normal. He's not, I said. That's why predictability is the only thing we can use. She sat down slowly. You think this will work? I think it's the only way we get evidence he can't talk his way out of. The part landed harder, because it was true. Right now, every report ended the same way. No proof. No threat. No action. Vanessa whispered. And if he doesn't take the bait? I didn't answer immediately, because the honest answer was worse. If he didn't take it, then he was already inside the system we couldn't see. My phone lit up again. Another unknown number. This time a photo of Vanessa sleeping on the couch, taken from inside the apartment. But this time something was different. The angle was lower, closer, like the camera wasn't hidden anymore, like whoever took it was still inside. And from somewhere in the apartment, a floorboard creaked. Vanessa and I both froze at the same time. The creak came again, closer this time. Not outside, inside. I slowly lowered my phone and stood up without taking my eyes off the hallway. Vanessa whispered, "He's here." I didn't answer, because if I did, my voice would give away how fast my heart was beating. Another creak. From the bedroom. I motioned for Vanessa to stay behind me. She shook her head immediately. No, I whispered, stay here. But she grabbed the back of my shirt anyway. We moved slowly toward the hallway. Every step felt too loud, too exposed. Then, my bedroom door shifted, just slightly, like something behind it had moved. I reached for the handle, paused, then pulled it open fast. Empty. Nothing inside. Just the bed, the window, the open curtains, and the faint sound of something hitting the floor behind us. We both turned. The front door was wide open. Vanessa's breathing turned sharp. He didn't come in, she whispered. But I already knew that wasn't true, because the apartment didn't feel empty anymore. It felt rearranged, like someone had been here long enough to decide what stayed and what didn't. My phone buzzed one final time. Unknown number. One sentence. You're getting closer. Then, a photo, taken from inside the apartment, of both of us standing in the hallway, taken seconds ago. Vanessa grabbed my arm so hard I felt it bruise. And from the stairwell outside, slow applause. One person, clapping. Unhurried. Confident. I stepped toward the door, and Derek was standing there in the hallway light, smiling like none of this had ever been a game to him. Just a countdown. Not scared, not rushed. Like he had already decided how this ended. And we were just finally catching up.